And so as we move into our next session on gender power, it's my pleasure to introduce Manita Ray, the CEO of YGAP.
Great, thanks everyone. And I just want to start by acknowledging how significant it is right now that our government and the private sector with ACOM, not-for-profit, Second Muse, YGAP and everyone here, we're actually combining to look at gender and power. This doesn't happen. This actually doesn't happen. Usually, and I'm going to say this in front of Sarah because I've already said it, governments tend to be a little bit behind in pioneering thought, right? This time they're not. And this is fantastic. So I want to acknowledge you guys and say, thank you so much for being so bold, not just about social entrepreneurship, but actually looking at this really complex issue. And I also wanted to acknowledge every single person in this room because we've covered a lot during the last 3 sessions. And I know from speaking to everyone and hearing what everyone's been saying, it's actually bringing up a lot of thought and issues within yourselves and within your organizations. And while this is exactly what we're structured to do, and this is what we wanted to happen, I also wanted to acknowledge from all of us that it is really difficult. So thank you, and thank you for showing up and continuing this conversation. So just really quickly, so yesterday we looked at the things that you didn't really find acceptable in relation to gender and power in your work and in your ecosystem. And then we came up with some questions. How can we do this? I just want you guys to spend 30 seconds with the person next to you and just talk about the kind of world you would like to see, right? So in an ideal world, it doesn't have to be perfect. What do you believe in relation to gender and power? Just quick 30 seconds to the person next to you, thinking about what you didn't like and what you'd believe the world to be. Fantastic. Really quickly, the rules for today, the rules that we've had throughout the week. We are all equal in this, okay? It doesn't matter what color your lanyard is. It doesn't matter if you've just come in as guests today. It doesn't matter if you're DFAT or if you're YGAP or if you're a program partner. When we are looking at these issues, today we're on the same level, okay? None of us are experts. None of us are claiming to be. So we want everyone to participate. We are really looking around the issues of power, right? And in particular, power, privilege, and bias, and how it affects different gendered groups, how it oppresses some gendered groups, and how it advantages some gendered groups. In relation to all of that, the second concept we're looking at is intersectionality. And by intersectionality, what we mean is we're looking at things like race, religion, sexuality, culture, ethnicity, because all of these combined, they intersect to actually compound how gendered groups can be advanced or oppressed, okay? Concept number 3, there is no one-size-fits-all model. We saw this yesterday during some of the exercises we did, and this is exactly why we're working with you guys. And concept number 4, gender is not about women. It is not about men. It is across all genders. And so why are we doing this, right? We're doing this because we know as a group here that it's the local people who have the solutions to the problems. And we also know that, unfortunately, because of the systems that we are in, the power doesn't always sit with these local people, right? So we know that. We're being very deliberate in our approach. We're acknowledging that. As intermediaries, as Sarah said, we have the power to disrupt this. We have the power to disrupt the negative power dynamics. Okay, to bring everyone up to being equal. And we're also looking at how these issues are applying to your organization, how your organization is structured, how your program is structured, and also the broader ecosystem. Because again, there's intersectionality here. You can't just do something for your organization and expect magic to happen. You have to think about all of that. The other great thing, and I mentioned this on the first day, is things are changing in our world in a really positive way, right? Our government is focusing on this. There is funding available for this, right? Donors that I speak to are now wanting to know how they can apply a gender lens. They are shifting the way they are doing things. Donors, not investors. A lot of you, I've spoken to a lot of you here, we are still struggling with financial sustainability, right? A lot of you are relying on philanthropic donations to kick off and keep going. These donors, if you can pitch that you are looking at this, you are tapping into money that maybe other people won't have access to because they want to do this. So there's a really great incentive. And I'm not saying money should be the main driver, but this is a good thing, right? This is really good. They're doing what we really want them to do. A couple of new ideas that I wanted to throw in today as well. When we're applying a gender lens, it is not about gender bashing, okay? This is not about saying women are oppressed and it is the fault of males. If anyone says anything like that, as you guys keep working on this, call them out. This isn't it. It's a fault of a broken system, fault of broken policies, fault of cultures that are so deeply embedded. It is not the fault of any one particular gender. So please keep that in mind. I strongly believe in this. As you guys, I said to you guys first thing that, I have a son and a daughter. I don't want a world that's better for one or the other. I want a world that's better for both of them, okay? And the second one, because we're talking about investments a lot later today, a lot of you might have heard this from potential investors or donors. You guys might be doing this when you are selecting your cohort. Gut check, right? Some people will go, oh, that company, I just know it in my gut that they're the right ones to pick. Often investors will go, I want to invest in them, I just know, right? It just feels good. We talk a lot about having a chemistry with a person, right? Often, gut check is not valid. What is really important is to know there's data out there to inform that gut check. So just be really aware. And this is a really tricky conversation to have with donors and investors and people who are supporting you financially. They might go, oh, we've done this before. I just know in my gut this is the right thing to do. Go, great. Let's look at what the data is showing, right? And help inform that decision. And there is data out there. So just use that as well. Great, so a quick review of the week. So what we did at the start of the week, we reviewed the concepts, the 4 concepts we talked about. And yesterday we did an example where I threw out 6 questions to you guys and you lifted up the pieces of paper, right? One was gender, one was power, one was privilege. And what we saw is majority of people were one color and then there were some other ones. What I learned, and on my laptop when I structured those questions, I got it wrong compared to all you guys. So what does that say, right? It's very different in context. And what I was hearing from all of you is that the way you guys interpreted the questions and the way you guys interpreted the definitions of power, privilege, and bias is very different to what I've been trying to convey. And that is great. That is exactly what I wanted to happen, right? Because it is different in different contexts. And so I didn't go back to my typed up sheet and change it, because I went, this is a really good learning for me, right? And it's fantastic. This is what it should be. We also looked at the concept of privilege, and we looked at that video in the very first day. And one of the most important things to take away from it, besides the wow factor, is the concept of privilege is very much unseen, right? We don't see it, but we all have a certain amount of privilege. And again, this is where it comes to having a really deliberate approach on acknowledging it and talking about it. It's going to be uncomfortable. It is, but at least try and see it. We watched the Run Like a Girl video, which was incredibly powerful. And the main thing we saw in that was that bias is learned, right? The little kids didn't have it. The older generation did, or the older, they were still teenagers. But the other thing to remember is it can be unlearned, right? Even in that short 3-minute video, you saw them change. We looked at the Man Up video, and what we saw from there is that labels are just not on degrading women. Labels are also put on men, and this is equally as damaging. It is very damaging in all the ecosystems we play in all the religions we work under. So what you're noticing about gender dynamics in the work you're doing that you find kind of unacceptable, you can start by saying, my example is always, it's unacceptable that 90% of our applicants in Bangladesh are men. I believe in an accelerator in Bangladesh that is gender equal. How can we make sure that people who are coming into our accelerator are from both female founders and male founders? So I've been chatting to a few of you, and this today is all about how we're actually going to disrupt things, right? Because I want you guys to leave today with some really practical ideas that you are going to apply to your work that you can actually do today or tomorrow, right? So we're going to move into the next section. I'm just going to throw it to Aaron quickly.
Cool. So we run accelerators. So what we're going to do is a mini hackathon for the next 15, 20 minutes. You've got your how can we question. We're going to support you to come up with 50 different solutions, each company, to your how can we question. So ideation rules are now in force for the next 20 minutes. Our ideation rules are really simple. Here they are, and we'll model this as we move through it. So the first thing is we're pushing you for a quantity of ideas. We want you to get to 50 solutions to your how can we question. So we'll show you how we do it. So Manita, what's a how can we question that we've got?
How can we ensure that the cohort we're selecting for Bangladesh has gender parity? We're going to get amazing ambassadors around Bangladesh and globally who are strong women to attract more women into our programs.
We've got 4 ideas. Getting to 50 is not going to be that hard if we're moving that quickly. So we're pushing for a quantity of ideas. The next one is we're encouraging ridiculous ideas. So Manita said, we'll get Michelle Obama involved. I said, yes, and we could also get Oprah involved. She can bring the money. So EM will love this. Yes, and is an improv comedy tool. You're just building on the idea, seeing how far you can take it. The next one is the word we. So imagine Manita said, I think we should get Michelle Obama to come over. And I'm going to say, we don't have budget. Okay, I'll try something else. And she'll put it down and she'll say, we'll get, really cool female ambassadors. And I say, honestly, we've done it in the past and it hasn't worked. So I just don't think it's a good idea. If I keep doing that, Manita's just going to give up and stop innovating. So I use the word we. So love it. We're going to get these great ambassadors from all around the world, Michelle Obama. We need to think about a way to do that for probably $5,000. What can we do with $5,000? I use the word we. She's still innovating. We're still moving forward. And the final thing is every idea is a good idea as we do this. It's all good. There is a time to filter and refine, but in the next 15, 20 minutes, every idea is a good idea. The way that we enforce this is we say every time that you're negative, which means, we've tried that, that won't work, ooh, that's inappropriate, or all these different things, even squishy face, like, when you hear an idea. What we do in our team is we write everyone's name up on a board, and every time you're negative, we fine you $1 Australian, and that goes into our Friday drinks kitty. So we're going to try this. We're going to use these techniques. Remember, quantity of ideas, ridiculous ideas, yes, and to build on the ideas. The word we, so you're innovating together, and every idea is a good idea. And we're going to start pushing you towards 50.
Great. So the first thing we're going to do is work in your pairs. So if you're in the same organization, please work together. If you're here by yourself, we're all friends now, and we're going to give you 2 minutes each, right? One person is going to say the how can we statement. That's all you're going to say. And the other person is going to feed you all these ideas, okay? So I'm going to say the how can we, and Aaron's just going to churn out. I am not allowed to say anything unless he forgets my question. So if he forgets my question, all I do is just repeat it. All your job is to do is to write these down. It doesn't matter if he repeats it or anything like that, you're writing them down. You're going to get to 50 ideas of how you're going to combat the solution. So we've had a lot of talking, a lot of moving, a lot of ideas. What we'd love for you guys to do now is just have really quiet time and look at the ideas you've already got and try and come up with about 5 more, just by yourself in absolute silence.
So take a look at the ideas. The easiest way to do this is we're getting you to get down to your top 3 ideas. Put your ticks by your favorite ideas. If you feel really strongly about something, I'll give you a couple of minutes. Take stock, get down to your top 3 ideas. The ones you think could help you solve that how can we question most effectively. I just want to acknowledge that there's some really good stuff happening here. So I'm not going to force you to get down to your best idea. Even Vilgro, who's been going 17 years, they're all leaning in and getting this stuff done, which is awesome. Close out, just some really practical tips from Manita on how to implement this stuff back in your organization. Helen Keller said, ideas without action are worthless. So if we sit here together and play some nice music and use up lots of sticky notes and nothing changes, it's been a huge waste of everyone's time. So how do you make this stuff happen when you go back to your organizations this weekend, next week?
Thank you. So Avery's going to come and give some handouts, and Aaron's made a really good point, and we see these with our entrepreneurs, right? They come in and they're the visionaries, and I've got all these ideas, I want to do this, I want to do this. Great. But then you actually need to get these things done. I hate the word launch. I hate saying we're going to launch this, we're going to launch that. I come to my team, I'm like, when are we going to land it? Okay, how are we actually going to land this? So there's 5 key steps, and this is what we've been working on with Criterion. As you guys remember, we're actually partnering with Criterion to deliver this. So number 1, have a clear vision of what you guys want to achieve. And make that really clear. Don't worry about how it sounds and the language or the semantics. This is your we believe statement, right? You know things aren't quite right. What would you like it to be? That's your vision statement, and talk about it within your team. Have commitment from your team, right? Sana spoke to Keith, and they're doing this together. Get commitment from the top, get commitment from your whole organization and everyone who supports you. It's only when everyone supports you, you're not the only person who's doing it, because otherwise it's going to dissolve. Nothing's going to happen. Resourcing, okay? Who has the technical expertise to help you with this stuff? Who are you going to collaborate with to make this happen? You guys all know each other now. You know all of us. Use that. Allocate some time to do this. If you don't, I can't remember who I was speaking to, they were like, how can we get budget for it? I'm like, the only way to get budget for it is put in a line item and then get fundraising to actually get that to happen, right? You have to do this. Ask. If your donors are demanding this, if your team is demanding it, if you're demanding this, go up to your donors and supporters and say, you need to fund this so we can actually do this properly. Okay? I'm at that point where I'm going to do that within our organization. And I'm confident in doing this because I've done so much work behind it. Group accountability. Put some really easy KPIs against it. So for example, with me, for our global team, we've got really simple ones because I didn't want them to have to think too much because we were in accelerator season at the moment. They have now a percentage against the number of applicants they get that have to be female. Again, with gender, we are focusing first on females. And it doesn't just stop there. They have to make sure that the top entrepreneurs that actually get into the cohort is at least 50% female. And now they're changing how they're doing this, right? So some of them are like, we have to actually go and headhunt now, or we have to work with partner organizations to make that happen. Great. Those 2 things didn't cost me any money. They were low-hanging fruit, and that's something I want to encourage you guys to do. There are things you can do that you don't need budget for. What the really hard part is actually finding out what are the things that you want to address. So clear vision, commitment from the top, resourcing, group accountability, celebrate it. So we do quarterly reports now, and we actually report against this now. And the last one is intentional approach, right? You can create amazing gender strategy, a gorgeous 20-page document that sits, either in your Google Drive or the bookshelf and never gets looked at. Or you could actually create a mantra, and I was talking to one of you guys about this. Say it at the start of every meeting. Are we actually applying a gender lens to the work we're doing? Simple as that, And the more you say it, the more you do it, the more you make it less scary, that's how you're going to start thinking about it. Incorporate it into the value statement of your organization. These 5 things are difficult, and they're going to take time. And these 3 sessions is literally like getting your learners. I don't know how many of you drive here, but this isn't the end. You've got your learners. Now you're going to learn how to drive. Okay? So you've got these documents. Right at the start, you've got 5. The first document we gave you is the 5 areas that you can use to actually ask those questions. Now you've got the document to actually go, how can we implement these? So your top ideas, we'd love for you to talk to us about this. Claire's here. Where's Claire? So Claire is from Moonshot, okay? They are experts in how to actually measure the success of these initiatives. Monitoring, evaluation, and learning. And she has worked with organizations across the world who are doing this in the gender space and other areas. This is the time today and tomorrow to have a chat with her and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. How am I going to measure this, right? And she can give you some great ideas. And that's it. That's what I want to leave you with. There's so much we can keep talking about. Thank you so much for giving us all this time to work together on this. And good luck.